let's see. Let's continue a little bit on your path. So one thing I was curious about is, so you're channeling Ryok, you were channeling this Pleiadian, and they're telling either, you're transmitting it to someone else, or maybe you're just doing it for yourself, and then you're starting to apply this information in your life. What does it mean? I think you said early on you started to a dedicated application, or maybe it was Bashar's teaching, a dedicated application of this. Can you just talk about like what the information was and how you were applying it?
Yeah. So the specific information I was applying at the time when I was going through this awakening really related to two major concepts. The first concept, and this was the major teachings of Bashar. At that time, I was listening to him, but they still remain the core of his message. And the first one is life is totally neutral. And in a sense, there's no built-in meaning to it. And the role of the human being, the gift of the human being, is to create meaning, essentially to create story, because the meanings we impose upon the things we're observing ultimately customize those things that allows for them to function as either specific characters on the journey or the specific quality of the set and setting on the journey. And when we are imposing negative meaning upon things through judgment, we make everyone into the villain, even ourselves, right? And we essentially give rise to a horror story, But when you are imposing meanings of divinity, of beauty, of natural connection and relationship, all of a sudden you plug into what I would describe as the divine story. It is, in my eyes, the greatest story ever told. It is a story that allows, not just for you, but for all beings, should they choose it, to be able to follow their highest destiny. Now, Bashar talks about the idea of that path, in my eyes, of highest destiny as the path of passion, or the path of excitement, or the path of bliss. So the second concept that Bashar shared that I really gave myself to, and still do to the best of my ability, it is the following. It's this thing he calls the formula. And I won't give the whole thing because there's a lot of nuance to it that's important, I think, to maintain. But what I will say is this: it has to do with the idea of, in the moment, observing from a place of neutrality which kinds of choices, inner or outer choices, are the most connected to the feelings of excitement, bliss, or passion. And once you have identified that, the idea is to follow that path, follow that choice. And as you're following it, remain totally open-minded. Don't expect it to bring you to heaven. Don't expect it to bring you to hell. Just stay open. Let it bring you wherever it brings you. And take it as far as you can. And when you cannot go any further with it, remain in that blissful state, choose to remain in that positive state, and then observe from the here and now, what is the next option, inner or outer, that represents that excitement or passion or joy. So that was what I did. I started telling myself radically different stories. I started seeing everyone as the ultimate reflection of love. These were the meanings I started just imposing onto everything. Everyone I saw, I would just project that meaning. Like my third eye, to be very symbolic here, would just project these meanings onto things. It'd be like, you are love, you are love, you are love. Like, the tree is love. Like I was just projecting these meanings onto everything, and I was also following those instructions of, all right, what is the most exciting option here? And that was actually what helped me to choose to go to Connecticut instead of just lone wolf in it, because that in that moment was that bliss option. So it's wild to think, if I hadn't received that teaching, or if I hadn't applied it all the way, I may have very well made a different choice that would have put me into an entirely different situation.